Been having trouble with my Ducane heat pack furnace working. You'd hear the thing fire up, sound like the gas was coming on, and the fan would never kick on. So I could get it to work by resetting the thermostat, turning it off and turning it back on again, and it would come on and usually work okay for a while, but then I had to go through this cycle again. So, of course, my next thought was that, I had a problem with the fan capacitor, and possibly that was, thought the furnace was lighting, but then the fan wasn't kicking on. So I took my trusty gauge here and measured the old one, which is rated at 10 plus or minus 6%. It was reading about 9.1, so it was iffy. So I replaced that with the new one, which is measuring at exactly 10, and ended up not resolving the problem. So, and I ended up taking it apart and kicking on the thermostat, and what I discovered was the way this works. If you're familiar with electric grill, it's almost exactly the same. So it's got these 3 burners right here. There's your gas outlets, and then I'm not sure what these are called, the burners, I guess. And what I discovered was on the ends of these burners, there's these little channels that are designed to pass the flame over to the next one. Well, those little channels in there were completely filled up with like rust. So it was hit or miss whether, oh, and the way this ignites is when this sits on top, okay, you have this device right here creates the spark to light it, and then this here senses the third burner for heat, and if everything's working, then it kicks on the blower. Well, what's happening, it was lighting the first one but not transferring to the other 2. So I took it all apart, noticed all that corrosion, so I cleaned them up really good. I get ready to put it back together to see if it resolves the problem. So what I'll do is I will I'll reassemble it, and then I'll resume the video, and we'll see if the flame shoots across all 3 immediately or if it has the same issue as it did before. So I'll come back in a second with that. Alright, so part 2. Got it all back reassembled, so you can see the burners are all reinstalled, cleaned up, the lid is screwed back on. You can see the end of the igniter back there, and the heat sensor, or the flame sensor there. All comes up here to the circuit board, the controller, right, and then over to the fan. So when I kick this circuit breaker on, which is right down here, ignore that, that's the heat pump for upstairs. That might kick on as soon as I flip these breakers too. But I'm going to kick on these breakers, and what I'm hoping to see happen is this little fan start up, flame come into all 3 of those, and then a couple of seconds later that motor start blowing. Now that blower will be blowing cold air until I put that cover back on there, because it sucks air from out here in, and it's hard to overcome this cold weather we've got going on right now. So let's kick this on and see what happens. So I'm flipping these breakers. Second now. I hope. I have never seen it happen that quick before. Ever. Ever. Usually that first little burn for quite a while before these other 2 kick in. It'll take several attempts to start. So I am pretty sure I just solved this problem. I wish I had videoed it before to show you what I mean. So you get all 3 burners burning, igniter turned on. Any second now this blower just kicked on. There we go. Now we'll wait and see what happens, but I am confident that that's going to resolve this issue. Confident. Update at 11.